you. I need to talk to you either after the meeting tonight or tomorrow sometime. I just need a little bit of data.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I welcome each of you here tonight, those of you in the council chambers and those who watch by TV. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you stand, we will have our invocation and a pledge of allegiance. Let's pray, please. Heavenly Father, we would request your presence in these chambers tonight as we deliberate the issues of our city. We ask, Heavenly Father, that you would bless us and guide us and direct us as we deliberate those issues that are most important to those that we serve. We ask now and give you thanks for the day, for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you would guide us now through this evening. Help us to make those decisions, O Lord, that are in the best interest of those that we serve. And we make our prayer in your Son's name. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask our city manager, Randy Wheeler, and Bernie Wright, principal of the high school, if they would join me at the podium, please.
You didn't tell me that so that I wouldn't take annual leave today.
Families. Is that everybody, Chief? Is that everybody?
Did you see this? Where is she?
Who are we waiting for?
Mrs. Wheeler.
Okay, well, we'll just...
Mrs. Wheeler.
Yeah, we got to have Mrs. Wheeler. Sorry for the delay, but it's worth the delay to make these presentations.
We told her 5 after 7 and you started early.
Oh, it's my fault.
Always is.
Okay.
I'm happy to step by.
No, we're going to wait for her. No, we can do Bernie. Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's very
Okay.
nice.
I apologize for starting early. It's all my fault. It usually is. On August the 14th of this year, actually Mrs. McCormick is here tonight. Their home was ravaged with fire. And fortunately, there was no loss of life. There was a great deal of destruction to the home, and I think the McCormicks are safe, and they currently are trying to rebuild. And while the devastation was great to the property, there was no loss of life, and the reason for that are these two gentlemen that stand on either side of me tonight. Randy, to you and to Bernie, we wanted to say that we appreciate your efforts of heroism, and that's what they were. With complete disregard for your own safety, you entered a house that was fully involved to make sure that there were no children there or anything alive there that might be destroyed by fire as the property was. And so in recognition of that, we have proclamations for both of you. When I am finished with council's portion and the city's portion, the fire chief has some things that he wants to say, and a representation from the State Firemen's Association is here as well. So let me read the proclamation. We'll do Bernie's first. Whereas Bernard Bernie A. Wright, Jr., Poquoson High School principal, who happened to be in the backyard of his home on Darden Drive the afternoon of Saturday, August the 14th, 2010, did witness a great deal of smoke emanating from the neighbor's home across the creek. Whereas Principal Wright immediately upon seeing the smoke, left his home and made his way on foot around the creek to the site of the fire. And whereas upon reaching his destination, he discovered that the burning structure engulfed in fire and smoke was in fact the home of his neighbors, Judy and Patrick McCormick. And whereas without giving any thought to his own safety, Principal Wright ran into the burning home and found 3 youth inside, who he immediately assisted from the rapidly disintegrating structure. And whereas when the fire department shortly arrived on the scene, due to Principal Wright's heroic rescue of all persons in the structure, the firefighters were able to focus entirely on containing the fire and preventing it from spreading to other homes. And whereas without the swift, enduring actions of Principal Wright, these young people may have been injured or even lost their lives, and others in the homes in the area could have been damaged. And whereas the extreme bravery and valor which was exemplified that fateful Saturday by Principal Wright is rarely seen or heard of these days. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Poquoson City Council, do hereby proclaim Poquoson High School Principal Bernie A. Wright, Jr., a true hero for his actions in responding to this urgent situation and for rescuing the young people inside the burning structure. And Bernie, it is my pleasure to present this to you. All of council has signed it, and on behalf of all of council and the entire community, congratulations and thank you for your heroic actions.
Thank you, Mayor Hudson.
This resolution is for Randy Wheeler. Whereas Randall Randy Wheeler, Poquoson City Manager, was spending time with his family and friends on the afternoon of Saturday, August 14, 2010, witnessed a great deal of smoke emanating from a nearby residence in his neighborhood. And whereas City Manager Wheeler, immediately upon seeing the smoke, left the outdoor gathering, quickly making his way on foot to the scene of the fire. And whereas upon reaching his destination, he found the single-family home engulfed in fire and smoke. And whereas without giving any thought to his own safety, City Manager Wheeler entered the burning home, whereupon he found 3 very frightened young people inside, who he immediately assisted from the rapidly deteriorating structure. Whereas because of his actions of the city manager, the fire department, upon arrival to the scene, were able to immediately turn their full attention toward containing the fire so as not to spread to other homes and saving what they could of the burning structure. And whereas without the quick, selfless actions of City Manager Wheeler, these young people may have lost their lives and other homes could have been damaged as well. And whereas the extreme courage and heroism exemplified that fateful Saturday by City Manager Wheeler is rarely seen or heard of these days. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Poquoson City Council, do hereby proclaim City Manager J. Randall Randy Wheeler a true hero for his actions in responding to this tragedy and for rescuing the young people inside the burning structure. And Randy, it is again a pleasure for me to be able to read and present to you this proclamation. We as a council are proud of you. We as a community are proud of you. We're blessed to have you, and congratulations. Thank you. Just stand here for a minute, and I'd like to introduce our Fire Chief, Robert Holloway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could, I'd like to have the president of the Volunteer Fire Company and the Volunteer Fire Chief come up here at this time. And do we have the head of the rescue squad? Mr. Mayor, you said everything so eloquently. Beautiful as usual. We have a couple of plaques to present to Mr. Wright and to Mr. Wheeler. and I will read the first one, and I'll start with Mr. Wright. On August 14, 2010, the Poquoson Fire Rescue Department received a call for a structure fire at 4 Water's Edge. Bernard Wright, being in the area, observed the structure with heavy smoke coming from the attic area, and without regard for his own personal safety, did enter the structure and helped to lead the 3 teen occupants to safety. For his personal act of heroism, we, the staff and members of the Poquoson Fire Rescue Department, do hereby proclaim Bernie Wright a hero.
Thank you, sir.
And I shall read yours. Again, on August the 14th, 2010, the Poquoson Fire Rescue Department received a call for a structure fire at 4 Water's Edge. J. Randall Wheeler, being in the area and observed the structure with heavy smoke coming from the attic area, and without regard for his own personal safety, did enter the structure and help to lead the 3 teen occupants to safety. For his personal act of heroism, we, the staff and members of the Poquoson Fire Rescue Department, do hereby proclaim J. Randy Wheeler a hero. Mr. Mayor, could I speak to you just one minute? Okay. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Gary Allred. He's with Virginia State Firefighters Association, and he has something to present as well.
Y'all heard on August the 14th where they had responded to a house fire on Water's Edge prior to the fire department getting there. And I too would like to present a certificate on behalf of the Virginia State Firefighters Association to Mr. Wright and Mr. Wheeler. Gotta put my glasses on, I can't see. Mr. Wright, on behalf of the Virginia State Firefighters Association, the Heroism Award, this award is presented to you, Bernie Wright. The Virginia State Firefighters Association recognizes you for your heroic act on August 14, 2010, entering a burning structure to save 3 children trapped and disregarding your own safety and welfare. For this, we commend you and offer you a hearty thank you, dated on the 25th day of October, 2010. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. City Manager Wheeler, on behalf of the Virginia State Firefighters Association, I would like to present you with the Heroism Award. This award is presented to Randy Wheeler. The Virginia State Firefighters Association recognizes you for your heroic act on August 14, 2010, entering a burning structure to save 3 children trapped and disregarding your own safety and welfare. For this, we commend you and offer you a hearty thank you. This was dated or given the 25th October 2010. Thank you so much.
Bernie, to you, let me say on behalf of the city that what a tremendous example you are to the students that you serve at Poquoson High School. What an inspiration you will now be to those young people, and we're just so proud to have you there. I know the system is proud to have you there, and tomorrow those children are going to be proud to have you there. Randy, speaking on behalf of staff, this council put you to work with no reservation whatsoever. We knew that you were going to be an outstanding city manager. We knew that you were going to be active in the community. We had no idea that you were going to become a hero in a short period of time, and that you earned on your own. That's a tremendous statement to this community. It's a tremendous statement to your children and to your family, and it's a tremendous statement to us, and we appreciate it very much. So thanks again. Bernie, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank you for this award, but like I've tried to tell everybody, I don't think, and I don't want to speak for Andy, but anybody that was given the situation we were put in, anybody in this room would have done the exact same thing. And I appreciate this. I thank you for this award and this honor. I feel a little guilty because I just know that anybody that was placed in the same situation I think we were in would have reacted the exact same way. But thank you very much.
I want to echo what Bernie said. I'd like to think that in Poquoson and in Virginia, that anyone that was physically able to do what we had the unfortunate opportunity to do that day would have done the same thing. I'd like to think so. Before I called up two of the reasons why I wouldn't have done anything else. Because it could have been just as easy my house. It could have been one of you. So thank you. I'm humbled by this.
All right. Tonight we're honored to have with us our representative in Congress, Congressman Whitman, who has a presentation that he would like to make. Rob, before you take the podium, let me just say to you that we appreciate very much not only your service to the country, but your communication, constant communication with the city of Poquoson. And we're very proud that you are the one that represents us there in Washington. So thank you very much for that. And the podium is yours, sir.
Well, thank you, Mayor Helsel, Vice Mayor Hunt, members of the City Council. What a great presentation this was. Just a very indicative of the selfless service that folks here in Poquoson exhibit each and every day. So my hat's off to you there. I want to congratulate City Manager Wheeler and Principal Wright for their heroic efforts there. That's an amazing testimony to this community. So we're all very, very proud. It was great to have the opportunity to participate in your work session there to hear some of your concerns about the upcoming requirements under the executive order that's been signed concerning the Chesapeake Bay. And I know we all feel the same way, and that is we've got to do all we can to clean up the bay. We want to make sure, though, that the public policies that are put in place are thoughtful, that they are achievable, and that we understand how we can do that and the resources necessary to do that. And that's been first and foremost on my mind as we have this discussion about these requirements. And I wanted to kind of put in perspective some of the things that are going on out there so you understand where Poquoson stands in this whole decision-making process. And as you know, there is a requirement under the Clean Water Act called the total maximum daily load. All of us now have gotten to know the term TMDL very well. And it's essentially a pollution diet for how much nitrogen and phosphorus can go into the bay and how much collectively states and localities have to keep from going into the bay. And that's really at the crux, I know, of what you all are talking about and what those requirements are going to be. As you know, the EPA has set a deadline of December of this year for the establishment of that TMDL. The state of Virginia has been asked to put their response in. They have. The EPA has said that they believe that it's insufficient. In the meantime, there is a period of time for comments on this TMDL from localities. That's November the 8th. There are a number of folks that have asked that that comment period be extended because there's some concerns about getting all those comments together and getting them in a timely fashion. And if you look at where that is in the time frame, you can see that September 24th of this year is when the TMDL or the draft TMDL was put out. So it's a fairly fast time frame to look at what does this mean, how can localities deal with these things. And I think as we have seen and heard, there's a lot of concern. EPA has held some public hearings up and down the basin to get feedback, and there are a number of ongoing concerns there. As you know, Governor McDonald has turned in a TMDL implementation plan for the state. The EPA has sent it back saying that there are serious deficiencies there. The governor is doing his best, as well as the agencies in the state, to put forward a TMDL that's thoughtful, that's reasonable, that also keeps in mind all the different elements of achievability, but also feasibility. And that's the key, as you know, and you all were just talking about that recently, about what are the costs associated with this. And I can tell you, I'm hearing as much from localities as I am from folks in agriculture about how are we going to do these things, where the dollar is going to come from, and we want to understand that the efforts that are going forth are really going to reduce the nitrogen and phosphorus in the bay. And some of the questions have come into the models that are being used to say that certain things need to be done to reduce nitrogen and phosphorus to certain levels. So your concerns are being echoed across many other sectors of the economy here in Virginia. So again, we want to make sure that the efforts that are ongoing are things that are going to work, but also things that don't create such overburdened financial requirements on localities that it creates a bigger problem than what we're trying to solve. And I want to go back to and reemphasize that we need to be cleaning up the bay, but it needs to be done in a very, very thoughtful way. Give you a little perspective on two things that are happening simultaneously. One is the executive order concerning the implementation of the Chesapeake Bay cleanup. That's come from the President, and that was put in place on May 2009 to pretty much say, EPA, you will take the provisions of the Clean Water Act and put them in place as far as this Bay TMDL. So that's taken place. And then on September 30th of this year, EPA released their fiscal year 2011 implementation plan, or their action plan as they call it, for the Bay. So they put out there the things that they are going to do. And essentially it outlines what the federal agencies need to do in their plans to restore water quality, to recover habitat, to support fish and shellfish populations, essentially what we're going to do to try to rebuild the bay. Also, it includes conserving land, and we know that's part of the formula there, and also increasing public access. As we know, all these plans involve states and localities, and that's really where the rubber hits the road. It's great to have this overarching plan, but essentially where it has to be implemented is down there on the local level. And I have a deep appreciation for what you all have to do, having served on a town council for 10 years and a board of supervisors for 10 years. I know truly what you all do is where the rubber hits the road. And that's why I have some significant concerns about the pace and the scope of consideration of this executive order. I don't think any of us here disagree we need to be cleaning up the bay, but it's a matter of how do we do it, and how do we do it in a way that's achievable, and as you said, making sure we're not creating such overburdening unfunded mandates on localities that they can't comply, and then where does that leave them if they can't comply? And, you know, we have to keep in mind not just the requirement in the Clean Water Act, but also what are the financial implications and what are the financial impact on localities. And this is, you know, no greater time in our history than right now as far as what the economic impacts are going to be and what can be achieved based on what localities can realistically pull together. And that means I think we have to encourage folks at every level to think a little bit outside the box, to think a little bit outside the realm of convention and say, well, what can we do to bring these pieces together to make sure that we're cleaning up the bay, to make sure it's achievable, but keeping in mind what the price tag on all these things are. And we have to make sure we think about that each and every day. And as we know, when you look at the total price tag of this, it does get pretty attention. It's certainly an attention getter, I'll put it like that. So we need to make sure that we're keeping in mind those things. Congress also has a role here. As you know, the executive order is progressing along. Congress also has before it a couple of bills that would continue the Chesapeake Bay Act. And as you know, the Clean Water Act has certain provisions in it as to what we will do to clean up water across the United States, including the Chesapeake Bay. But the Chesapeake Bay Act is a set of requirements over and above the Clean Water Act. And the debate has been, what should be in that bill? And there are a couple of versions of the bill out there. There's a Senate bill, Senator Cardin's bill, and there's also a House version of the bill put in by Representative Goodlatte and Representative Holden. Now, those bills, both of them have gotten out of committee. Neither of them have made their way either to the Senate floor or to the House floor. And then the question becomes is, will there be enough time in the 111th Congress, that is when we get back on November 15th, to actually get these bills before either body and have them pass out of both the Senate and the House, or the House and the Senate, depending on which bill goes forward. A lot of debate back and forth in those bills. The Holden-Goodlatte bill actually provides some flexibility for agricultural community and localities to say, let's try to figure out the best way to do this. Let's hold in a safe harbor agriculture and localities as we try to figure out, is this model correct? Are we doing all the different things? And if we're doing things, are we able to show an actual nutrient reduction? And if we aren't, then let's take a step back and figure out, is there something wrong with the model? Is there something wrong with the assumptions about what we're doing and whether that will reduce nitrogen, just to make sure that we're going through that in a thoughtful process. And the bill actually that's made its way farthest through Congress has been my bill called the Chesapeake Bay Recovery and Accountability Act. And that does a couple things. One is it shows where every penny is being spent on the bay so we can understand that whole idea of feasibility. And then also looking at accountability, and that is making sure that if we're doing something, that we can demonstrate that what we're doing is actually reducing nitrogen or phosphorus. And then using that to go forward to say, let's make sure we're grounded in good, hard science about what we're doing, and that if we're expending scarce resources, we can demonstrate clearly to the folks that provide those scarce resources, whether it's to the federal government, state government, or local government, that, hey, we're taking your resources and we're demonstrating that we're actually reducing nitrogen. So those are the key elements there. Those are the things that I've been pushing to make sure are contained in either bill, if either bill passes out. Now, I'm not a prognosticator as far as what may or may not happen with these pieces of legislation, but I'll say this: it will be an extraordinarily challenging element for them to make their way through both bodies in a fairly short period of time, where there's lots of other bills to come forth. And if they don't, then we're faced in the 112th Congress, the next Congress, in putting those pieces of legislation forward. So there are a couple of moving parts here. The executive order, which is what you all are dealing with now, and the TMDL, is continuing along its road. But then there's also congressional action that's progressing down its road that would also define or refine what localities and agriculture would need to do under the Chesapeake Bay Act. And what I want to make sure is that what we do as a Congress is thoughtful, that it takes in consideration all the efforts that are ongoing out there. It takes in consideration good, sound science, and where there's any uncertainty, to make sure that we settle that uncertainty before we go ahead and require the expenditure of scarce resources to make sure that we can quantify without a doubt. If we're doing something and spending money, it better be reducing nitrogen, because we don't have the luxury of spending money and going, oh, gosh, that didn't work. Let's try something else. So that's really where Congress needs to be, I believe, in this whole process. And I know that you all are dealing with that each and every day. So I wanted to make sure that I explained those two processes. And I certainly heard loud and clear from you all about making sure that, again, the process is, as I talked about, thoughtful. It is directed. It is keeping in mind the feasibility of what you're being asked to do, and making sure that you can indeed demonstrate to your taxpayers, if we're going to spend money, we better make sure we're demonstrating those nutrient reductions. So let me do this. That's the overview at the couple of different levels, and if you all have questions of me about the things that you want to see our office do, the things you want to see Congress do, the things you want us to keep in mind as this whole process unfolds, whether it's with EPA, the executive branch, or Congress, I'm here at your service and here at your will to listen and take into our pouch of comments back to Washington your ideas about this.
Rob, I think you've probably hit the nail on the head, and you have shown to us already, and to this community, your concern just by being in our work session tonight, and then certainly in front of council giving us additional information that I know that all of us were not aware of. Sure. What we are pleased with is that you are where you are. And that you've already taken the opportunity to draw some bills to try to make some common sense work out of the EPA nonsense. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. That's what this council wants for this community. We just want something that's fair, something that's this is a gigantic mandate. For our entire region, not just the city of Poquoson. But what we will do is stay in touch with your office, and I know you will with us, because you do that as a matter of course, and we appreciate that. So I would ask council, any questions that you have, we can get them to Randy, that we can get them to your office, and if you guys would keep us apprised of what's going on, that's about as much as we can ask of you, and we appreciate that very much.
Well, we will do that. We're in the process of getting comments from all the different planning district commissions to get their concerns, and I can tell you your concerns here aren't different than concerns across the district about the things that need to be done. So we will keep you in the loop as far as what's happening on the congressional side. Please, if you'll let us know too, as you make comments to EPA, let us know to make sure that as comments come to our office and we talk with EPA, that we are reflecting your ideas and your concerns with them. That's critical for us to make sure that we're all reading off of the same sheet. So.
We will absolutely do that.
Fantastic.
Congressman, thank you so much.
Thank you all so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks again.
Take care. Hey, Mr. Wheeler, you have some new folks you want to introduce?
I believe we may only have one
Okay.
in the room, unless Mr. Hicks snuck in while I was out of the room. I don't see him. Mr. Clark is here, and he's been around for a while, but he's still new for our purposes. And it'd be nice if you would come forward, Stephen, and certainly the council knows you, but if you could introduce yourself to those members of the public.
What does
who
he
may
do?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I think I'm the last straggler to make it up here. I want to thank y'all for the invitation. Unfortunately, I had some other commitments the previous 2 meetings and wasn't able to make it here. I would like to give you an office update. I know that by this time of the year, we've usually inundated everybody's mailboxes with some personal property and real estate bills. We haven't forgotten. What has actually happened is, in the past, we've always used a North Carolina company to prepare and mail the bills. We've switched to a Virginia-based company. They required the files in a slightly different format than what we were used to providing. But we've gotten that sorted out and to them, and they should be mailing them out by the end of the week. If anybody's anxious and can't wait, come visit us. We've got the numbers in our system. We'll be happy to take care of you.
Steve, I think we really are all acquainted with you, and we appreciate the good job that you're doing. We really do.
Okay. Thank you.
It's good to have you on board.
Thanks.
Thank you. Did it, Mr. Wheeler?
Yes, sir.
Did we have the young lady from Walmart? Is she here?
We had anticipated the manager of the Yorktown Walmart, but she, for some reason, has not been able to join us.
Okay. Well, we'll do it at our next meeting. We have something nice to say about those folks, and we certainly want to present them with the plaque that we have. All right, let's move on to audience for visitors. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address council on any topic at this point, we'd love to hear from you. Mr. Carmines, I saw you here, sir. Go to how.
Oh, I don't get hit as often as I like to, but I certainly hope I can join you more often. I'm glad we have Representative Whitman with us tonight because I would certainly wish he could help us, first of all, repeal the wetlands bill passed by the state of Virginia to deny us our constitutional rights, our Fifth Amendment rights. But that's not part of his job. So I'm hoping that you folks will help me because I was at a conference earlier this month in Roanoke, and it was planned Virginia. And people were shocked that, wait a minute, use of your land has been taken away from you and without due process, and if you've not been compensated, well, that violates the Constitution of the United States, doesn't it? Fifth Amendment? Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Wow. Most of you probably live on something near wetlands, and you had your land taken, the use of it from you if you live on the Chesapeake Bay or any tributaries. Our council did that, but none of you had any part of it. They took the use of your land away from you 100 foot back on any property so you can't use it. Can't cut a tree. You have to replace it. Wait a minute. The city of Poquoson took the use of my land away from me and violated my constitutional rights? That sounds like they committed a crime against me and others in Poquoson, you and others. Because, wow, let me see, what did it say? Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation, and my land was taken for the public's use without one dime of compensation, without due process, or anything. Okay, I didn't come here to talk to you about that tonight. But with my representative here, I couldn't. Really, because I'm no supporter of the EPA, I tell you, and nor any other radical environmental organization, nor either the most radical environmentalist in Poquoson, who was very much against something that I'm very much in favor of. You see, I don't think I can address you folks properly tonight, Mayor Helson and members of council. I'm Ray Carmines. I've been in Poquoson 83 plus years. I've been proud of this community all of those years. I'm so thrilled that what I've seen taking place in Poquoson, and I'm glad to see what you good old boys have done for Poquoson. I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But the thing that's most disappointing to me in 83 years is the fact that the most worthwhile project that has ever been presented to this city was presented 5 or 6 years ago. We had someone that was willing to spend $4 or $5 million to bring to us something that to me was most worthwhile. And of course, I spoke a few years back, and other members of Poquoson did, because we thought that it was nice that anyone would spend that much money to bring to us some worthwhile housing in Poquoson, to bring us in the 21st century. Some condominiums with a beautiful view of the water. Wow, I'd love it to be in a condominium with a beautiful view of the water. I'd also like to live in a condominium which was next to a first-class marina and a restaurant that I could invite all my friends to Poquoson, if I could afford it, to have a view of the water and a nice restaurant on Poquoson's waterfront. Well, it was defeated. I feel some members of council were not in favor of it. But anyway, I would like to continue to let you know that the reason I'm so proud of this Poquoson is because, and I'm going to talk about the good old boys. I don't like to spend any more of your time, and you can tell me to go home anytime you want. It's okay, but I'll be back. You know that. I'm so proud of this Poquoson because we have the finest schools in the state of Virginia. We have the best teachers. We have the best administrators. We had one here tonight. I think I taught him in Sunday school 50 years ago. But anyway, we have certainly the best police department and fire department. And the only reason we have it is because through the years, the good old boys have worked on all of these things to bring it to you and me and other people of Poquoson. Going back to my youth, I'm going to tell you something on what the good old boys have done to Poquoson. I'm not going to take too much of time, but we go back to when I was in elementary school. Our high school was a wooden building, 2 stories, 2 floors. Some of you may remember it, but I don't think all of you are so young, I don't know if you even remember it. And we didn't have a brick high school then. But I want to tell you what the good old boys did to Poquoson back before I was born. They said, well, we got some 2-room schools in Poquoson, but Hampton and Newport News, they have a high school, and I think maybe our children should have the privilege of going to a high school. So some of those men got together, those good old boys, and they even put up their own money to have a high school in Poquoson. Wow. Not only that, but we were part of the Poquoson District of York County. Everything this side of York River was in the Poquoson District of York County. We weren't a town or city or anything then. And they said, wow, we've got, nothing but dirt roads. We don't have any sidewalks, so let's go. And the good old boys went to the Board of Supervisors in York County and said, we got most people living down here. We don't have it anymore, but we did then in the Messick area. And we would like to have a sidewalk. And they got sidewalks. The old Jeff's office area that I grew up in, and all the way down through the Messick area, we got sidewalks. The good old boys came up with sidewalks. They said, no, we got all these dirt roads. So they started going to meetings to bring us something other than dirt roads, some paved highways. Those dirt roads were okay, but in the winter months, they became pretty unmanageable, even for horse and buggies. Okay, so then as we proceeded through the years, I didn't have an electricity when I was in high school. We had kerosene lamps, toilet out back of the house, no city water. We had a well, carry it in the house if you want some. We didn't have any of those things. So the good old boys in Poquoson decided, hey, we should have electricity. There was a group here, the Ruritans, and still in Poquoson. I wouldn't never remember the Ruritan, but I know that they were instrumental in trying to get electricity in Poquoson. We wanted telephones. We wanted better roads. And there were so many other things that we didn't have. We didn't have a sewer system. And so we couldn't have any major business in Poquoson without a sewer system and a water system. So the Ruritans got very busy and worked hard to get City of Newport News to provide us with water, which the Sierra Club and the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, as you know, defeated the fact that probably 200 years from now, you and I won't even have bathing water or drinking water if they have their way. They kind of act like enemies of Poquoson most of the time, in the way I look at it. But anyway, we went on, and through the years, the good old boys got us water. They got us a sewer, because most of us were shopping in Newport News or Hampton, mostly in Hampton, for groceries. And anyway, we got sewer. And then we could get a Food Line, a Farm Fresh, McDonald's, and other places. Well, I'm not going to keep on tonight, but I kind of think that I should be here to congratulate a member of my council, because I felt that he certainly helped defeat the project. Councilman Marie, I congratulate you on that. You got some help, but I certainly want to congratulate you on defeating this project that I thought so much of. And I also want to congratulate you all congratulations to you tonight as a community organizer. You've done a good job. Kind of reminds me of President Obama. He's a community organizer, and he's President of the United States. He may be president someday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ray. All righty, anyone else? Okay, let's move on then to the approval of the minutes. We have two sessions. If we could take those individually, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt the minutes of the City Council meeting dated September 27th.
Second.
All right, motion made second. We adopt our regular session minutes, September 27th, 2010. Any concerns, comments regarding those minutes? If not, Ms. Wiggins, please.
Councilman Marie.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Krieger.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
And Mayor Helser.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thank you, Judy. In the work session, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt the minutes of the work session dated September 27th.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion made second. We adopt the work session minutes, same date as well. Any concerns, comments regarding those? Okay, if not, Judy, please.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Krieger.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Marie.
Aye.
And Mayor Helser.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item F, first public hearing and the only one tonight. It's a request of Barry and Melanie Tigner for amendment of an existing conditional use permit pertaining to business uses allowed on the property at 550 With Creek Road. Mr. Wheeler?
Mr. Carter will summarize the request for you. I don't know if Mr. Tigner is here. I'm sure he'll wish to speak as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I know that everyone's pretty much familiar with this application, but I do have a short presentation for the benefit of those in the audience. As previously stated, the application you're considering tonight is an amendment to the conditional use permit for 550 With Creek Road, also known as Dreamscapes. The agenda for the presentation is summarized in three categories, with the background, the applicant's request, and then the Planning Commission recommendation. First, the site. If you look at the image to the right, you'll see the parcel outlined in red. You'll notice that across the street, this is With Creek Road here, you'll see With Creek Apartments, as well as some single-family residential lots. The image to the left shows the location of the subject parcel along With Creek Road. Again, the subject parcel is outlined in red, and you'll notice that it's a single-family residential zoning. and that's why a conditional use permit is required for the proposed use. You'll also notice that the zoning for properties to the north, south, and east are single-family residential. And then to the west, you have multifamily residential, and then a undeveloped parcel that is zone B1 for office professional. Because this is a conditional use permit, a public hearing is required, and the city advertised the public hearings in the daily press on October 8th and October 15th. An ad also appeared in the Yorktown Crier, Poquoson Post on October 14th. The city had the public hearing notification listed on the webpage under current public notice and public hearings. And of course, adjacent property owners were notified by mail on October 6th. So to summarize the applicant's request, it's been broken down into three sections. One, the applicants are requesting the current conditional use permit that was issued in 2005 to be rescinded and to revert back to the previous conditional use permit application and conditions with some proposed modifications. And in addition, the applicants have proposed to add an over-the-counter food service use. The modifications requested by the applicant are as follows. The conditions are listed word for word in your package, but just to summarize, the applicants requested that condition number 4 and 7 be deleted. Condition number 8 have a statement added to the end of the condition. Condition number 13, the applicants requested that a truck and a tractor be added to the limits that would be allowed. And of course, on condition number 16, the applicant requested deletion as well. So staff reviewed these requests from the applicant and then provided some suggestions for Planning Commission's consideration. Condition number 4 was recommended to be retained as is. Condition number 7 was recommended to be retained with some language tweaking provided by staff. Condition number 8 was recommended to be retained as is. Condition number 13 was modified per the applicant's request, but with some language modification recommended by staff. And the applicant did request condition number 16 to be deleted. Therefore, staff looked at adding conditions for the food service use that was proposed. So we provided in your package the new condition number 16 and condition number 17. Prior to last month's Planning Commission meeting, the applicants did have a chance to review the conditions, and no objections were voiced by the applicant. And at the last month's Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission decided to recommend the application for council approval, and with the conditions suggested by staff. That concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
Okay, Joe, thank you very much. Well done. Any questions of Joe? Okay, all right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. We will then open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to address this request. Mr. Tigner, any comments? Okay, Barry. Okay, I don't see anyone else, so we'll close the public hearing. Council?
I guess this is a request that was put in by the Tigners, and hearing no objections to it, I'm taking it that you're okay with the words as they are.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Are we going to do this for first reading, or can we just go ahead and approve it tonight?
You can absolutely do it tonight.
Well, I would like to propose a motion that we approve a resolution approving an amendment to an existing conditional use permit as it pertains to business use allowed on property located at 550 With Creek Road, tax map parcel number 181052.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and second.
I did have some
Yes, ma'am.
questions
Go
now.
ahead, Tracy.
And I guess I'd like both Barry and Mr. Carter to address them.
Very good.
Number 4 was removed. No independent vendors shall be allowed to sell from the site. And I'm
Ms. Crawford,
some of the
4 remains.
I'm sorry.
It was originally
4
requested to be
remains.
removed.
Okay.
But it remains.
Okay.
Planning Commission recommend approval with that condition
Good.
still.
Good, because I'm reading this and it seems a little more restrictive than I would like. I'd like to loosen up some of them. Are we keeping, we approved 13 then, and number 8, are we including the as much as possible, or are we not including as much as possible?
Staff, Planning Commission recommended not to include as much as possible, to leave it as is.
And Mr. Tidner, would there be problems with you putting your sand, gravel, and mulch in bins so as to be hidden from public view?
I think it's so far back and everything that,
It's doable? Okay. All right, then if you don't think it's too restrictive, I think this is fine then.
I think it's just the interpretation of it.
Okay. For the people in the audience, what Mr. Tigner said is he's basically going to be continuing doing what he's doing now, which is why I thought it was fine, and I do appreciate him coming in to get a conditional use permit for it.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. We approve this request and dispense with the second reading.
You only have one reading
Okay.
of a resolution. Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Marie,
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford,
Aye.
Councilman Krieger,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hunt,
Aye.
and Mayor Helson.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Let's move on to new business. First item is a resolution adopting the homelessness agreement, which was in our packet. Randy, any comments?
I don't have any comments, Mr. Mayor, but perhaps Mrs. Wiggins may.
Judy?
Yes, in December of 2008, the Mayors and Chairs Commission on Homelessness was formally established by each member locality, which consisted of Hampton, Newport News, Poquoson, Williamsburg, York County, and James City County, by entering into an agreement which with the goal of developing a regional plan to end homelessness. And you will recall that initially the thought was to establish an office on homelessness, which we objected to because of the additional layer of bureaucracy and the additional costs involved. As an alternative to that, we decided that we would hire the Planning Council to do this work for us, to gather the data, to keep us informed of really what the need for homelessness was, and also to gather the data so that we could apply for grants. We have been successful in gathering that data. We actually entered into this agreement on June 3rd actually our agreement expired in June 3rd, 2010. And what we're presenting tonight is a replacement agreement so that we as a commission can stay in together and keep working toward this goal of ending homelessness. We have been successful with the data that we've gathered in getting some grants. As you know, we've got the grant with $727,000 grant for the HR, what we call the HPRP grant, is the Homelessness Prevention and Rapid Rehousing Program, which has helped 11 Poquoson residents, and we've spent $42,000 of our $100 allocation. And it's projected that before the winter months are out, we will have spent our $100,000 assisting our Poquoson residents with fuel assistance, paying rent deposits, doing things to correct their credit rating so that they don't become homeless, and also to help those that are homeless possibly pay their deposits so that they can get into a rental unit. So we are working diligently. We're meeting monthly. We've accomplished what the mayors and chairs have asked us to do, and we're asking that you consider approving the new agreement so that we can continue to move forward and act on your behalf.
And might I say that we have the absolute best representative in Judy, not only serving this council, but serving this committee as well. I'm sure that each one of us have called her any number of times about phone calls that we get regarding folks that are just falling on hard times, and she's very, very, very quick to not only get back to us, but more often than not with an affirmative answer and resolution to the problem. So we appreciate that, Judy. Okay, is anyone prepared with a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution authorizing and directing the city manager to execute the city clerk to attest an agreement between Virginia Peninsula localities on homelessness.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made second. We adopt the resolution. Any other concerns, comments? Any questions? If not, Judy, please.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Councilman Krieger.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Marie.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
And Mayor Hilson.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Judy, thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item 2. It's a resolution making appointments to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Anyone prepared for some names tonight?
I could give names for the Eastern District and the two that have already been on that are willing to serve another term.
Okay.
Okay, so I would make a motion that we appoint to the Eastern District Greg Goodson. And, let's see, Mr. Powers was at large, and Mr. Chera is central. So those are, I can
Okay, you have
recommend
those
those
three.
three names to
Okay,
be
is there-
inserted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Do you want to include in the motion putting off the fourth nomination till our next meeting? Is that what you want to do? That'd be all right?
Yes.
Act on these three? All right, so we have one from the Central, one from the Eastern, and the at-large. So I'm assuming we have a motion made and seconded. We adopt the resolution with those names inserted, and we'll look at the fourth from the Central at our next meeting.
Yeah, I am sure that Charlie Gatz would be, reappointed. He's been out of town all week, so I couldn't contact him.
We'll get him next time. Good. Okay.
Next time.
All right. Judy, please.
Councilman Marie.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Krieger.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
And Mayor Hilson.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item 3 on the new business, which is a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city manager to sign letters to the EPA and Secretary of Natural Resources. The subject is the Chesapeake Bay TMDL program. Randy, any comments with that?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, it's probably a unique situation that we ask you to authorize us in advance to write a letter on your behalf that is not yet completed, and that is a function at the pace that this TMDL program or vision is moving in its various changes, and we also anticipate keying in with the concerns of the planning district, which have not yet been fully articulated. So what we're asking here, which again is somewhat unusual, is for your authorization to write on behalf of the city to express the city's concerns and to also lend its voice to the regional concerns on the TMDL. This was the subject of your 6 o'clock work session, at least in part. Ellen is here if you'd like her to review the outline of the letter again.
Any further questions of Ellen?
Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to make that unusual motion.
Okay, all right. Is there an unusual second?
And I'll second.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion made and seconded. We adopt the resolution. Any questions, comments? Ms. Wiggins, please.
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hunt. Aye. Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Krieger.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Marie.
Aye.
And Mayor Hilson.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wheeler, any comments?
Yes, sir, just a few things to note. One, for those watching at home, the candidates forum will be held in this room tomorrow evening. It will be rebroadcast on Wednesday at 10 and Thursday at 6:30 if anyone would like to see it and missed it in person. There are lots of things and lots of people to thank for one of the city's most successful seafood festivals. I think we have to start with the good Lord who provided incredible weather, but also a whole lot of staff and community volunteers and the public in general, and also just to express our continuing appreciations for the patience and perseverance of the close-in neighbors as they dealt with populations coming into the event, which were at times twice that of the total city of Poquoson. So lots of people to thank. We also had a very successful workboat race and fishing tournament, And also, within the same period, the McKinsey's run was also very successful, included about 250 participants. Lastly, my list of people to thank, there are whole bunches of people to thank, from our community organizations to the U.S. Navy and our volunteers at Kids Island. With a lot of people's help and a great deal of assistance from the City Council, I'm very happy that we reopened Kids Island in its full new first phase, which includes 2 major structures that between our volunteers and our staff and some of you, we were installed, and with a little bit of luck, it was open 24 hours before the Seafood Festival started, and so far we've gotten very good reviews on that. One last item, and I just noted, I'm looking for a couple of pieces of just general direction to be followed by a potential item later. Recently I learned that the posted speed limit sign of 35, which is in close proximity to City Hall Avenue on Victory Boulevard, is unenforceable in its present state. The sign is there, but previously the city had not gone completely through the process with VDOT required to get that speed limit reduced, and I really am asking sort of for general comments on 2 things. One is there a desire to move forward to get that corrected? If so, I'll bring an item for your consideration next time. But also now or in the intervening weeks, I would appreciate any thoughts the members of council had with regard to that zone. Is it's too big, not big enough? If you have any issues that you would like us to study as part of that review, I would appreciate knowing that so we can make sure we include it.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Mr. Marie. Well, there certainly is a lot of people to congratulate, and I'll be brief on it because that's really what everything is tonight that I have. I mean, to start off with the tremendous heroes that we have in the city, Bernie and Randy, and it was said very well. The Seafood Festival, the city staff that comes out there and works from Thursday all through the entire time, they had such an amazing attitude. It is really wonderful how well that all happens. I do know that Dave Callis was giddy with how successful it was, because when I saw him on Sunday afternoon, he suggested that we make the Seafood Festival a 10-day event. Kids Island, it's great to have it open. Saw kids playing this last weekend. And then last but not least, on the heroes that we have, I can't help but mention Judy and the Mayor's Commission on Homeless, because she is really an angel for all the people that she does take care of and come and talk to her. And when people have trouble out in the community, I just say, give Judy a call. Thank you.
All right, sir. Kerry?
Yeah, I was going to say most of the stuff he said. Additionally, just comment about Randy and Bernie again. We are just really happy to have that caliber of folks in our city. Seafood Fest was super. Frank and I went down to the official opening of the Hampton University Proton Beam cancer facility of the day. And that's a truly amazing technology that we have right here in our area. So I'd encourage everybody to look into that, learn a little bit more about it. It's one of 8 in the world, I believe, or at least in the U.S., and it's the biggest and the most current at this particular time. So that's a good thing to have here, and encourage everybody to look at it. Only other thing I wanted to say was encourage everybody to get out and vote next Tuesday.
Okay,
thanks, sir. Frank?
I think Tom and Kerry said just about everything. I do want to make a comment to the city manager that requesting that he might be able to get together with the police chief or the fire chief at the Seafood Festival. Several people who live down on Ridge Road talked to me, and we put a sign down there a couple of years ago changing the speed limit. But we have parking now on both sides of the street, and the parents are concerned about their kids playing and dashing in and out, and we, knock on wood, we haven't had any accidents down there of kids playing. But if we could look into maybe at least parking on one side of the street only, instead of on both sides, it might help alleviate some of the concerns of parents down there. Ideally, no parking would be better, but I don't think that's going to happen. So,
Okay.
all right,
All right,
that's
sure.
it.
I'll be glad to look into it.
Thanks.
Bud?
Yes, sir. I would like to give my personal thanks and congratulations to Randy and Mr. Wright for their heroic efforts. And one comment about our seafood festival, I think it went really well. I really enjoyed being out there myself. But I had comments from at least 3 people, and I think there were more, but they suggested to us that at our entrances that we put out a little box with a comment card, something like, could we make it better? So that the people visiting our fair city at the Seafood Festival might have their comments about what they thought about it and if we could make it better. And I think having the people's input's a good thing. And so that might be something we could consider.
Great idea. All right. Okay, Tracy?
I can echo what all the other councilmen have already said. But I also wanted to address what our Senator Whitman talked about, the Chesapeake Bay TMDL program. And I just wanted to say pollution reduction is an outstanding idea. We want that. That's a good thing. But unfunded mandates are less good. And so it's very difficult for them to say, we want to improve pollution by doing this when it's going to cost us an unreasonable amount of money. And if it's unaccomplishable, then it's legislation that's wasting people's time, and they need to make something that's realistic. And so that's all.
Okay,
Thank you.
good point. Chief?
Echo the comments on our 2 local heroes and basically all the good things at the Seafood Festival, and as well as we always know that Judy does a great job. The TMDL thing, I'll go a step further because I think the public deserves a right to hear, because I don't think we've kind of glossed over it, because we did talk to the congressman. We talked about it to our concerns, but you need to understand what we're talking about in terms of cost. Worst case scenario was basically thrown out there tonight, and it's staggering. It's $6 million per year bill that's come out of a presidential executive order in May of this year. So when we say that we're rushing legislation, for an executive order to come out in May of 2009, a plan comes out in September of 2009, and then we're expected to basically comment on it that quickly and get all the facts straight. Sounds like government moving too fast. We have a hard time as government, even in local government, things that we rush through, we don't normally get them right. And I would say that the federal government is heading very much down the same lane as far as that is concerned. And if I said 2009, I meant 30th of this year. Okay. So I apologize for that. The other thing, Tracy and I attended a legislative session on dealing with the Colonial Behavioral Services Board. And I would remind council, that it's probably a good thing to attend for every one of us over time. We can't obviously all go to the same things. That's why there's 7 of us. But to hear their plight in these bad economic times kind of puts it all, just like the homeless solution. Mental health issues don't go away either just because budgets get tight. And in fact, they're probably exasperated. So we need to kind of keep our eyes on that line item in the budget at the next time. And, obviously they'll be asking for a little bit more, but it sounded like they were really looking for some help from the state. They're very pleased with Poquoson and our support of them, and I think we are welcome there. So
good.
That's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? All right. Got a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Motion made, second to adjourn. Ms. Wiggins?
Councilwoman Crawford.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Krieger.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Marie.
Aye.
And Mayor Helsel.
Aye.
Motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, ma'am. We are adjourned.